I'm bullish about this development, and today I'm going to share with you why. Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of my Springleaf residence review. We finally gotten green light to release the floor plan, site map, and yes, even the indicative pricing review. And today, my cameraman is none other than... Say hi to the camera. Hey, At this time of recording the video is actually a few days before the launch, and why I'm doing this part 2 is because I wanted to help you deep dive into the floor plans, which is something I usually don't do into that kind of detail on YouTube, because I personally study every single floor plan of this development because I'm leading the core sales team for this launch. So if you're visiting the show flat, feel free to come and say hi. But if you walk past and you see that I got a resting beach face, right, it's not that I've been cao cao, it's because I got limited bandwidth to talk to people. But if you come and say hi to me, I will definitely say hi to you back, but just that I cannot talk too much. Jokes aside, if you have not watched part 1 already, make sure you check it out after this. That one gives you a solid overview of the developments, the transformation, potential, and what makes Springleaf so unique. And if you're like me who enjoys watching educational videos and real estate videos, do me a favor by tapping the like button because it helps me a great deal and it's absolutely free. Thank you. And if you have not already subscribed to the channel, I recommend that you do so right now because we post weekly real estate videos like these, and you can always unsubscribe later if you think I'm talking nonsense. So how you're going to do this video is, number 1, a quick walkthrough of the facilities and unit mix which I couldn't share during the previous video. Number 2, a deep dive into the floor plan variation, what to look out for if you're a buyer or investor. And finally, I'll wrap up with the 4 key factors that form the exit strategy I'm bullish on for Springleaf residents. One thing I really like about this development is its unit mix. Tongue twister. It has only 35% investment unit types, while the remaining 65% are made up of 3, 4, and 5 bedroom layouts, which clearly indicates a focus on families and own stay buyers. What's even more interesting is that the majority of the units are 3-bedders, offering a wide variety of layouts from 936 square feet all the way up to 1259 square feet. Some units even come without balconies, which is quite rare these days. And let me know in the comments, do you think balconies are essential or is it a waste of space? Happy to hear from you. The key takeaway here is when you see a development where most units are 3-bedders, it naturally attracts more family buyers, leading to a more stable own-stay community. And when it comes to time for resale exit, you'll likely be facing less competition compared to developments that are dominated by smaller investment units. And for maintenance fee, because this is a big development, the MCST fees are being spread out across 900 over units, so it keeps them relatively affordable, which is another plus point for long-term holding. Now let's deep dive into the floor plans and also the facing. For the 2-bedroom units, it will start with 2 main types: 2-bedroom compact 527 square feet and also the standard 2-bedroom with 646 square feet. Then the main difference between the two lies in the living room, kitchen size, balcony width, and the number of bathrooms. The 527 square feet unit comes with 1 bathroom and a more compact layout, while the 646 square feet comes with 2 bathrooms, a more spacious living area, and the option to enclose the kitchen. In terms of the facing, all 5 stacks of the 2-bedroom compact faces the Seletar Expressway, so you'll get some traffic noise but also a more affordable PSF. On the other hand, the 9 stacks of 2-bedroom standard faces internal facilities, the driveway, or even the greenery, so it's quieter but comes with a slightly higher price tag. If you're somebody that's looking for an own stay unit, right, the 646 square feet comes with a lot more options for you. As for the 3-bedroom units, right, it's getting a little bit more detailed because there are several variations on layouts for the 3-bedroom, from compact to standard to plus layout. For the 3-bedroom compact, it ranges from 786 square feet is a dumbbell layout, so very space efficient. The 818 square feet layout has a wider living area and a bigger master room plus a longer walkway, but part of the enlarged size also goes into the corridor as well because this is not a dumbbell layout. There are 5 stacks for the 786 square feet layout with options facing Springleaf Forest, pool view, or internal driveway. So if you are going for the 818 square feet layout, there will be 2 stacks, both facing the highway, which could come at a slightly lower PSF for a good entry price for those that are a little bit more PSF sensitive and are buying for investment, because you may not really bother what is the facing. And for 3-bedroom standard, multiple floor plans here, but it's getting a little bit more interesting because this is the show flat layout and it includes a flex room. It's quite a rare find in today's market because you can use it as a helper's room, storeroom, or if you can get a little bit more creative with space, right, one wall is hackable. And what I think you can do is that you can use 1 square meter as a display shelf and balance balance 3 square meter of the flex room, make it into your helper's room. To sum things up, for the 3-bedroom standard, most of the facings are internal facing and facility facing other than Stack 23 that faces the expressway, and it also has a slightly bigger floor plate due to a slightly different foyer configuration, which means a longer foyer or walkway. For PSF sensitive people, like I mentioned again, the highway facing may be the one for you. For 3-bedroom plus 1023 square feet onwards up to 1073, I personally call this the 3-bedroom plus study, but the development markets this as a 3-bedroom plus. You basically get a flex room, household shelter, and even a powder room, which is rare. But for Springleaf residents, the developer, instead of putting the helper's toilet in the kitchen, they placed it outside so that you can use it as a guest powder room instead if you do not have a live-in helper. As for the facing, the 1023 square feet Stack 27 faces the Springleaf forest, but it may get a bit of wind, sun, and highway noise. And the Stack 27, 19, and 11, you may be hearing some sound from the expressway because the back of your house is actually facing the expressway, so you need to be mindful of that. But if you ask me, if you have a slightly higher budget, the 107 square feet may offer certain value proposition. Why? Because it's slightly bigger, PSF could be a little bit lower, it's seated further away from the expressway. And for the 4-bedroom unit types, most of them actually follow the D1 show flat layout, which gives you more privacy at the entrances. You look into the wall and TV area instead of straight into the kitchen like the D7 layout. So in terms of facing, Stack 35 is the most premium, facing the unblocked Springleaf forest, and Stack 15 might be the most budget friendly because it's actually facing the highway. So if you are considering to buy into the 4-bedroom segment at a lower quantum, Stack 15 is the one you should be considering. But one thing to take note, one of the bedroom in the 4-bedroom units does not come with a wardrobe, and you can request a developer to build or not to build the wall depending on whether you prefer a 3rd bedroom or a slightly enlarged living area. For the 5-bedroom, there are only 3 stacks, so not much to choose from. You either get internal facility views or unblocked outward views. Layouts are large and family friendly, same as the 4-bedder. One of the room won't have wardrobe, and if you can request to modify depending on your family needs. Now that sums up the summary of the different facing and the different unit types. And if you need my recommendation on your current property needs, right, this is my number, feel free to reach out to me to have a discussion on what you should be doing next. So coming to the exit strategy, the 4 key factors is: number 1, you're buying into 2022 price tag. Number 2, low quantum, high upside potential. Number 3, you're benchmarking against previous case study of integrated versus pure residential projects. Last but not least, optimal exit timing. So number 1, if you are lucky enough to get a good Q number, you most likely be buying into the year 2022 price tag, because Lentor Model and Lentor Hills were launched in the year 2022 and 2023 respectively. Back then, they were already transacting at a price of between $2,001 to $2,200 per square foot, and if you add on the harmonization of 8%, we are talking about an average pricing of between 22 to 23 PSF in the year 2022. So if today you are able to buy into Springleaf at the above guide price, right, you are essentially buying, if not below the 2022 pricing. Number 2, low quantum, high upside potential. Although the quantum is low and the upside potential looks high, you're not just buying cheap, right? You're actually buying a premium product right on top of the MRT station, and also nature reserve at your doorstep. Basically, you do not have a lot of competitors. The closest I can think of will be like Bukit Timah area or Botanical Gardens area, both trading above the $3,000 per square foot range already. Number 3, there's actually a mixed development that is closing its land tender very soon just beside us, and in this part I will talk about how pure residential projects often outperform mixed development, especially when they are launched before the integrated developments just next door. Take for example Treasure Trove versus Watertown and Park Colonia versus Woodley Residences as example. In both cases, the pure residential project was launched earlier, just by a couple of months, and despite not being integrated with mall or MRT, right, both Treasure Trove and Park Colonia saw margins up to 50% higher compared to the mixed-use development just beside. This shows that early entry into the well-located pure residential launch before the mixed development next door can offer a significant first-mover advantage. Last but not least will be the limited supply and low competition environment if you find the right exit timing. The timeline is really to your favor for Springleaf residents because in year 2022 to 2024, Lentor experienced 6 launches. 2026 will likely see the mixed development of Springleaf Parcel A being launched, and by then you'll be seeing a slight paper gain of $100 to $200 per square foot most likely. And 2026 to 2028, you start to see the Lentor and Woodlands projects, about 7 of them, start to complete and enter the resale. That is when you start to see stacking of the resale transaction pushing up the accepted resale pricing. And in 2029, when most of the supply in Woodlands and Lentor has been cleared from the resale market, that is when Springleaf entered into the new benchmark resale pricing at the price that you are trying to look at. And this is the illustration. Take a look and let me know what you think inside the comments. Long story short, during the TOP of Springleaf residences, most of the surrounding supply would have been already transacted and taken. Lentor owners would have exited or be in a holding mode, means to say they don't want to sell already lah. By then, you'll be entering into a mature Thomson East Coast line zone with low resale competition, likely just from within the Springleaf itself. And mind you, the rest of the Springleaf developments are actually across the road. But I would think that this development is something that you should check out for yourself before deciding to buy any development, because this may be the one that eventually suits you the best. So I've come to the end of this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notification bell, because we post weekly real estate videos like these. And this is my number. Feel free to reach out to me for any real estate related question. And don't forget to say hi to me if you see me at the show flat lah. With that, thanks for watching to the end, and I'll see you at the next week's video. Bye.